All right, I'm driving while I'm doing this. We'll see how this goes. I won't have to re-record it. Hopefully it's loud enough. So anyway, what this little talk is about is people out there criticizing various law of assumption YouTubers. I'm not talking about me. I don't care if people criticize me. I don't care what people say about me. I just don't care. I mean, I want people to like me. I want people to like my channel. But, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape or whatever. I just do what I do. You either like me or you don't. So, I was on Reddit, especially Reddit. Reddit's kind of toxic, but, it's a good place to read up. And I noticed people out there criticizing. I was reading about a certain YouTuber, two certain YouTubers, one male, one female. Big ones with huge followings, right? LOA, huge followings. And what I noticed was about the comments. I mean, people were basically, there's various ways of criticizing. Some are, going after certain heavy-handed tactics, like having comments deleted or being booted out of coaching type groups or places where people who buy the coaching are allowed to basically converse with one another. And then they start complaining, they get booted out, something kind of like what I was discussing in another video. And also criticizing of YouTubers who maybe have certain personal habits, I'm not naming any names, but you can figure it out. Like there's one person who apparently has a drug problem, right? But they're out here advising people, okay? And the people are like, well, why should I take advice from somebody like that? Their life isn't even together. Who are they to sit here and pontificate or tell us what to do? And also, act as if they know what's going on if they can't manifest their life to be perfect. And also, other people saying things like, well, if these YouTubers aren't all millionaires and have everything perfect, they can't be real, right? So I want to address stuff like that. First of all, I listen and watch some of these YouTubers who were being criticized, and I've gotten value from them. Now, I'm not buying their coaching or anything like that, but I've gotten some value from some of their LOA stuff. It doesn't mean that they're a phony if they've got, personal habits or personal demons they may still be struggling with. There were some women talking about the female saying, well, how come she's fat? She's not fat. But, people have different images of whatever. She's, I guess, a little on the slightly, you could call chunky side or curvy side. So some people are going to call that fat, whatever. So how come she doesn't have a perfect body? First of all, she's married. She's content with the way she looks. Personally, I think she's attractive. So I don't know what the big deal is there, right? And somebody else talking about this drug problem, which it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate somebody abuses drugs, maybe has to go into rehab or something. But at least they ended up in rehab, So that doesn't mean that they've got it all wrong, right? Or that they're some kind of a phony who's just parroting what Neville said. I don't know where people get off, going the extra 10 steps that they don't need to go with this stuff, okay? Not everybody's going to want to manifest. We all say we want to be rich and we want to be millionaires, but, deep down, you may not. Deep down, you may fear. You could still have fears. You may fear having the complicated life of being super wealthy, right? Some people say, well, it wouldn't be complicated, I'd be rich. It might be in some ways, maybe they just don't want a huge mansion and 15 cars and all of that. Just because you may want it doesn't mean they want it. They might be content living a quiet, peaceful life in some peaceful little corner with a nice small house and their family. As long as everything's taken care of, who's to say what rich is? Even Neville Goddard said, he addressed this. I'll try to find a quote somewhere, but in one of his talks, he addressed how, abundance, or whatever you want to call it, is in the eye of the beholder. People see this in different ways. Just go back into my YouTube history. Look for the one about I had the quotes about the rich people, and the one is stinking rich. He was going into that kind of stuff. Just because it's not how you would do things if you had total command of what you were manifesting doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about if they don't have what you consider the ideal. That might not be their ideal. Honestly, these people, it's hilarious when you read this stuff because, and taking pot shots at people and, being all critical about everything. Honestly, if you're going to go around like that, you've got serious problems, my friends. I'm talking to the ones who have those issues, right? Judge not, lest ye be judged, okay? You have no right to judge or belittle, and now I may talk about certain things. I try to be careful not to judge people. Now, I talked about the coaching thing. I don't particularly go in for that. They still have the right to be a coach if they want to be one, and other people have the right to buy the coaching if they feel they need it or they want to buy it. I'm of the opinion you don't need that sort of thing. All you need is Neville, Murphy, etc. But please don't misunderstand me as being, against the coaches themselves. Yes, I did have semi-critical opinions about, if they were to be somebody who would use the coaching as a front, that you should be careful of that, because you don't know what everybody's motivation is. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch their YouTube channel. If you don't like their style or their delivery or values or whatever, sure, you could tune out and find someone who more meshes with what you, how you feel, but don't write people off just because, they're not like you, right? People have different motivations. People have different measures of success. I'm just here to kind of remind you about that, because I also noticed not to be ageist. I don't know, ageist, is that a word? But I'm a little bit older, as I record this year, this slice of time. I'm in my mid-50s, right? I'm not, I notice a lot of younger people with the LOA stuff, a lot of, university type students who are trying to manifest good grades and SPs, and they're not in that time of life where they have families and real responsibilities like, mortgages and things like that. So, they're just basically in fun mode. And I notice a lot of people in that group, you could tell, doing a lot of the criticism and being very catty like that. And women being catty against other women, or some of the LOA women, like saying, hey, if they get a little disillusioned with it, So look, there may be what you consider unfair, whatever. There's also, remember, everybody's you pushed out. So that experience as well. You could be experiencing something based on your own biases and your own expectations or whatever, right? So keep that in mind as well. This can be a little bit of a complicated thing. So I wanted to talk about that stuff and basically say, look, you get value from a lot. I watch a huge amount of people on YouTube of various, this girl, she sits in her car. She's got a lot of subscribers and stuff. She says a lot of profound things just sitting in her car. No fancy graphics or any of that stuff, right? Other people have more advanced. Some people have clickbaity headlines and stuff. Everybody does it different. I'm trying to do things in my style and hope enough people, or I can manifest enough people interested in it. I just enjoy doing it, Different people have different motivations why they do YouTube. And I guess it's up to you to find people that resonate with you. I'm trying to be as real as I can here with you. And upfront, honest, open, and, not misrepresent myself or anything like that. So just, don't judge other people. So, again, this is if you're the type to do that, or if you've also noticed it. I noticed another YouTuber, I guess a little on the slightly older side, not someone who's in their 20s or 30s. He looks more like he's in his 40s, and he's like talking about how a lot of this stuff disgusts him, and he mentioned about Neville rolling over in his grave. At the toxicness of the LOA discourse that's out there on the internet. I kind of share some of his beliefs on that. But again, try to be positive in certain ways because, again, a lot of this, what you experience is based on what you expect to experience. It sounds weird. It's kind of like circular in a way. So anyway, my little ride is done. I'm pulling into my driveway. I hope that made sense, or that you get some value from that. So, and I hope this sounded well, because I like this. I hope it sounded well enough that I don't have to redo it. All right, please like and subscribe. Please likes so that the algorithm picks me up and shows me to more people. I'd appreciate it. It really doesn't cost you anything to hit the like and to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you. All right, I want to add a little bit to that last thing I was talking about, something I wanted to talk about, but I forgot to mention because I had arrived home. But I have to go out again, and I said, what the heck? So, okay, I actually like the way that one came. You can hear pretty well like this. So anyway, the part about the YouTuber who has like personal demons, right? And like a drug problem. And people criticizing that. Now, I want to also point your attention to the fact that, maybe a year ago, I was on social media and somebody posted Neville Goddard's death certificate. You can look it up. Basically, it says how he died. And people were flabbergasted when they were reading this thing. I saw a lot of disheartened comments questioning whether they were going to continue with this, or maybe Neville's a fraud because someone said he died the death of an alcoholic, something about how he died, and they knew he was a heavy drinker. So right there, you have Neville Goddard himself liked to drink, and apparently it's affected his health in a very negative way. Now, we also know that Neville Goddard used to speak about how, you don't have to diet or worry about your diet or anything like that because, first of all, you can manifest good health regardless of how you eat or drink or whatever, even though, in my experience, I've always had a weight problem, and that's something I really need to work on, I guess, mentally. Sure, you could follow the, certain protocols within this body, right? Eating differently, exercising. For me, that stuff has rarely ever helped, especially as I get older. When I was younger, maybe a little bit, but whatever. So anyway, this isn't about me, but I just wanted to say that. So anyway, Neville would say that. So therefore, why didn't he just manifest good health for himself, regardless of the fact that he liked to, like to drink, like to imbibe, whatever. So, listen, Neville also said, which people forget, that your appointed time is your appointed time. When it's time for you to leave this phase of existence, you come in on time and you leave on time, regardless of anything else, right? He basically says you can eat bird seed all day and night and it won't postpone your exit 1 minute, 1 hour. So he also said that. So you have to consider all these things. People tend to cherry pick or focus on one thing, and they don't consider everything, or they forget. So I'm here to put those things together and say, when it's your time to check out, it's your time to check out. Now that doesn't mean you necessarily have to go around purposefully doing unhealthy things. If you like to be healthy, that's great. I'm not discouraging that, but also walking around with a sense of guilt for everything you put in your mouth, whatever, might not be the way to go either. Maybe just moderation, whatever. Neville said certain physical conditions were also the result of other things as well. So, so anyway, a lot of those people seeing how Neville died, it kind of mirrors to me people criticizing this YouTuber for, being into drugs, something like that. Doesn't mean that the greater message is now, rubbish, as my British friends like to say. It doesn't mean that it's rubbish, that it's trash, that it's garbage, that it doesn't, that it's not real anymore. Just because one aspect of their life, they may have bad habits or whatever. So, I mean, like I said, you could look directly at Neville Goddard and find the exact same thing, except instead of drugs, it's alcohol. Okay, and Neville even spoke about how his father was a bottle of scotch a day man and died in his mid-80s, and yet his mother never took a drink, and she died in her, I think, early 60s. And that's when he would say, so your time to leave is your time to leave, no matter how you live your life. He even mentioned Winston Churchill, the famous British war leader and politician who was known for being very overweight and smoking big Cuban cigars from morning till night. From the time he woke up to the time he went to sleep, late at night. He didn't sleep much. And, he would also drink a lot. Drink brandy, cognac, and stuff constantly. He'd eat big, huge, heavy meals, drink the alcohol, smoke the cigars. And he lived to be like, I think, 90, right? And yet other people watch everything they eat, their physical condition. And, Churchill was heavy too, He certainly didn't look the picture of health either. And yet there's other people who watch everything they eat, they exercise, they're in great shape, and they seem to be struck down for whatever, whether it's an accident or sometimes a fatal disease comes in or something, no matter how much they watched their health. So, so anyway, don't be so quick to criticize other people's lifestyle choices or, habits just because you think they're bad or conventional wisdom says they're bad. Just because those habits seem to be bad doesn't negate everything else all the other wisdom or knowledge that they pass along, right? And it doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about or that they can't manifest, because, you know, people tend to think, well, if they're messing that up, then they're just a source of bad advice because they can't get their own act together. But it's not about getting their act together, as is evidenced by Neville Goddard himself and other people, other examples that I've given you. This really needs to be considered. A lot of people, you know, they're so focused on that sort of external, superficial stuff. There's a lot of people out there who are just, you know, incredibly superficial and don't consider these things. Don't look at the big picture, you know, whatever. So, I humbly submit that for your consideration, in addition to what I spoke about earlier. I'll just splice these two audios together into one video. I could make two videos out of them, but they kind of belong together. So that's the way I'm going to put them. So thanks for listening. Please continue to like my videos to help them with the algorithm. I think my point of view is one worth being out there as an alternative to a lot of this other stuff, or at least an addition to a lot of this other stuff. You should watch a variety of stuff. You know, there's no, you know, people out there, they talk about, some of these YouTubers say, well, I'm your favorite YouTuber. I'm your favorite YouTuber. I'm the best. Look, that may be so. Maybe you are the best, right? But it doesn't mean you should be the only one. There's lots of points of view out there that should be considered. There's a body of knowledge out there, and no one person has a monopoly on it, you know? So, thanks. Please like and subscribe. See you later.